what really matters and what really doesn't. Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. So there's a lot of noise out there. Some things feel risky, but they're probably not going to land you in court. And other things, the ones that seem small, the ones you think you've got handled, those are often the real legal landmines. Now, this isn't about scaring you. It's about helping you see clearly. Because if you're a small business owner, especially one who's also the HR department, the operations lead, and the final decision maker, then you don't have time to waste worrying about things that probably won't happen. You need to focus on the things that will and that do cause real problems for businesses your size. So let's start with what actually gets small business owners sued. And I'm not talking hypotheticals here. These are the claims that land on desks every week. They're common, they're expensive, and in most cases, they're completely avoidable if you know where to look. The first and most dangerous trap, employee misclassification. This one is a lawsuit waiting to happen. You might think you're doing something harmless, calling someone salaried so you don't have to track hours or pay overtime. But the law doesn't care what you call them. What matters is whether they meet the legal criteria for exemption. If they don't, then you're on the hook for unpaid overtime, back wages, penalties, and interest. And it all adds up so fast. And if you're calling someone an independent contractor, but you're setting their hours or telling them how to do the job or requiring them to use your tools and controlling their schedule, they are not a contractor. They're an employee. And again, you could be looking at fines, penalties, and even a full audit. Misclassification is one of the biggest compliance issues small businesses run into, and it's one of the easiest to fix, but only if you know what you're looking for. Now, let's talk wage and hour violations. This is another big area that'll put you at legal risk. This includes everything from missing or late meal breaks to failing to give employees their final paycheck on time. In California, for example, if you're late with a final paycheck, you could owe a full day's wages for every day you're late up to 30 days. That's not a slap on the wrist. That's a month of pay you didn't budget for. Or let's say you're not tracking hours correctly. Maybe you trust your team. Maybe you think time clocks are too corporate. But if you have hourly employees, you are required to keep accurate time records. If you don't, you've got no defense when someone claims they worked extra hours or didn't get their breaks. And if you're paying people under the table or trying to average hours across weeks to avoid paying overtime, you're setting yourself up for disaster. These are the kind of mistakes that turn into class action lawsuits. Now, even if you've got your pay and classification policies nailed down, you're not in the clear if you mishandle retaliation. You see, retaliation claims are the most common type of claim employees bring, more than harassment, more than discrimination, and they can sneak up on you. If someone raises a concern, even if it's not valid, and you respond by cutting their hours or giving them the cold shoulder, passing them over for a project, or treating them differently in any way, they may have a case. And it doesn't matter if you didn't mean it that way. What matters is how it looks and how it's documented. And that brings me to documentation, or the lack of it. The law isn't just about what happened. It's about what you can prove happened. You fire someone for poor performance, but you've never written them up, never had a conversation about it, never documented anything in writing, then it doesn't look like a performance issue. It looks like retaliation, or worse, discrimination, especially if that person is over 40 or pregnant or recently took medical leave or falls into any protected category. And let's be honest, most of your team does. If you treat one employee one way and another employee differently, if you let one person get away with being late but discipline someone else for the same thing, well, that's inconsistent treatment. And inconsistent treatment is what gets you sued. Another hidden risk? Managers who haven't been trained. that team lead who cracks a joke they think is harmless, the supervisor who tells someone not to bring up a complaint because, well, we don't want to make this a thing. That's how harassment claims start. That's how they escalate. And in small businesses, every leader represents the company. So if you've got managers, even unofficial ones, and they don't know how to handle issues, that's your liability. You have to give them the basics. They need to know what not to say, what not to do, and when to escalate something to you. Okay, now let's talk about what probably won't get you sued. These are the things small business owners worry about a lot, and they matter, but they're not the usual spark for a lawsuit on their own. You can be a tough boss, holding people accountable, having high standards, being direct. Those things are not illegal. You're allowed to run your business how you see fit. The line you don't want to cross is where tough turns into hostile or inconsistent or discriminatory, or when tough becomes a mask for retaliation. Another thing that won't land you in court on its own, having an imperfect employee handbook. Yeah, I said it. Honestly, if you're not going to follow it, I'd rather you didn't have one at all. The danger isn't in the policy you forgot to write. It's in the promise you made and ignored. If your handbook says employees get 3 warnings before termination, but you fire someone after 1, well, that could be a problem. Not because the law says you need 3 warnings, but because you said it. Hiring friends or family, totally legal. Private companies aren't bound by anti-nepotism rules. But if your cousin gets special treatment and your other employees feel ignored or overlooked, you're going to have a problem. Not a legal one necessarily, but a morale one. And morale problems can turn into legal problems when employees don't feel heard, don't feel protected, and don't feel treated fairly. So, where should you focus? Well, first, get clear on your classifications. Know who is exempt and who isn't. Know who's a contractor and who's really an employee. If you're not sure, don't guess. Ask. This is where most small business lawsuits start. Second, put a foundation in place. Now, you don't need a 300-page HR manual, but you do need basic job descriptions, a timekeeping system, and policies that match how you actually run your business. Third, train your people. Anyone with authority over others should understand the basics of harassment, retaliation, and fair treatment. One short training can save you from a year-long lawsuit. Fourth, document. Now, I know it's a pain. I know it feels unnecessary. But if you're disciplining someone, if someone quits, if you're making a change that affects someone's role, write it down. Just a quick note with a date. It's not about covering your tracks. It's about building your story while it's all still fresh. And finally, create a culture where people can speak up. Now, that doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, but when someone raises a concern, your job is to listen and respond the right way. That's how you stay out of trouble. That's how you build trust. And not for nothing, but that's how you lead. You see, HR compliance isn't about being paranoid. It's about running a clean, honest operation, a place where your team knows what to expect and you're not getting tripped up by things you could have prevented. Most of the lawsuits that hit small businesses aren't because the owner had bad intentions. They're because someone didn't know the rules, or didn't have a process, or didn't think it could happen to them. Now, you don't have to be an HR expert. You just have to be willing to lead smart. And when you hit something you don't know, get help. That's what we're here for. And remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.